Your do now task is to choose 2 words from the list for each of the materials that you see below. The materials you need to describe are the logs, which are made of wood, sponge, which you might use in the bath or shower or washing up, and a blanket. The words you need to choose from are hard, soft, rigid, which means stiff and steady, flexible, can it be bent easily, smooth, and rough. Next, you have a recall task. It asks, can the shape of the following materials be changed? For example, can you squash, bend, twist, or stretch each of those? You can leave me a voice note or type what you think for each one of the materials in the list on the left. Take some time to look at the knowledge organizer again. Okay, we have the words on the left that we need to use throughout this topic, and then we also have some sticky knowledge as well as the groups of rocks with some examples. Spend some time looking carefully at this and becoming familiar with the types of rocks. In this video, Miss Chantel introduces us to all of these different types of rocks and gives us a close look at them. Watch it carefully in your folder. You can click the video and discover each different type of rock. Hi everyone. So it's investigation time. So we're going to use some of those rocks that you've just learned about to test. We are going to investigate their properties. We're going to find out what this means. We need to make predictions, make observations, and explain what we found out. So the question we are exploring is, do all rocks have the same properties? So are all rocks similar? The equipment that will be used for this experiment is 8 different rocks, a nail or a pin to scratch, a pipette for the porosity test, a stopwatch for the porosity test, and a container of water for the flotation test. So this is the method. So we've got 3 different experiments taking place in the video that you're going to watch. The first is the scratch test, the second is the porous test, and the third is the floating test. For each rock, you need to predict, remember what that means? Making a clever, sensible guess. What will happen when the teacher performs the test? Then you will watch carefully and observe the results. So, as I said, number 1, can it be scratched? You test the rock by scratching it with a nail or pin and observe whether it leaves a mark on the rock. 2 tests to see, is the rock porous? This means, will it let water through? Will the water be absorbed? We use the pipette to put some drops of water on the rock and observe if it's absorbed or not after 60 seconds. Number 3, does the rock float? We place the rock in the container of water and observe if it floats or if it sinks. We are also going to complete this prediction chart, okay? Remember, a prediction is a clever guess. Then we also fill it in with the results from our observation, okay? So for each test, you've got a prediction box and an observation box. Remember, the prediction box is filled before the experiment, and the observation box is filled in after the experiment has been carried out. You put a Y if you think yes, and an N if you think no. So for each of them, can it be scratched with a nail? We look at the type of rock and make our prediction. Y for yes, N for no. Then we carry out the experiment and see if the result has changed. Now you're going to watch Miss Rita carry out the experiments on each of the rocks. You can select the video in the Show Me folder, and please watch it very carefully and look closely at the different types of rocks that she's testing. So, your task is to look at each of the tests, explain what Miss Rita did, and then say what she found out for all 3. Then you need to decide, was your prediction correct? Okay, so you are going to use the following fill in the blanks to help you come up with some sentences explaining the results of the experiment. For example, during the scratch experiment, Miss Rita She found that rock left a mark when it's scratched with a pin because it is, and my prediction was. So you can use this slide to help you fill in the missing words and decide what should go in each space. There is a piece about the scratch experiment, a piece about the porosity experiment, and a piece about the flotation experiment. So it is so important that you watch the videos so carefully so that you can fill this in without any difficulty. I'm going to read it now and you can think about what might be missing. So during the scratch experiment, Miss Rita, you need to tell me, what did Miss Rita do? So for example, okay, we might say that Miss Rita used the pin to scratch the rock. She found that left a mark when it was scratched with a pin because it's, so you need to put in the name of a rock that left a mark. The didn't leave a mark when scratched with a pin, so you choose another rock that didn't get marked because it or there. And my prediction was correct or incorrect. Okay, so the words you need are underneath: soft, hard, correct, or incorrect. So you need to think carefully. If a rock gets scratched, is it soft or hard? And if it doesn't get scratched, is it soft or hard? During the porosity experiment, Miss Rita, you tell me what she did. Okay, think about Miss Rita using the pipette and water. She found that is porous. So think of a rock that did let the water through because it absorbed water. But is non-porous. So think of a rock that did not let the water through because it didn't absorb water. My prediction was correct or incorrect. And number 3, the last experiment. During the flotation experiment, Miss Rita tested the rocks in the water, didn't she? She found that floats on water and doesn't float on water. So you need to decide which rocks would go in each place. My prediction was correct or incorrect. Take your time and watch the videos carefully.